Welcome to Let Them Hear podcast. This is a podcast for anyone wanting to grow in their faith, family, or finances. Our objective here is to gift listeners with sound advice, sound doctrine, and a sound opinion to anyone who has ears to hear. Welcome to episode 2 of Let Them Hear podcast. This is your host, Brittany Baer. And this episode, we are going to be talking about honoring yourself this season. This is so necessary, and we're moving into the holiday season right now. And we got to learn how to honor ourselves. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster. And we're trying to figure out how to move into the next year being our best versions of ourselves. So we're going to start now. We're going to start today. My husband has that tattooed on his neck, which he doesn't love that I point out all the time because anytime he's doing something I'm like annoyed with, I'm like, it says on your neck, start today. So start today. Start doing the lawn today. And he's like, you're annoying. So anyway, I wanted to talk about honoring yourself because it's just super necessary. We got to do this in order to be able to give it to other people, to show other people honor well. So let's talk about the gift first and foremost of impartation, because it is a real gift. So to impart something is basically to be able to give something to someone that you have. So that you have. You can't give anybody anything you don't have, right? You can't give money if you don't got it. You can't give resources if you don't have it. Like it has to be a gift. When we think of it in the physical, with physical things, it's that way. When we think of it in this, spiritual, it's the same thing. Physically it might look like finances, or it might look like time. You can't give time if you don't have it. But in the, spiritual, it might look more like prayer. People, will say all the time, because I had my back healed, pray for me, please impart that on me, because I can give that impartation because it's something that I experienced myself. I had it, right? So impartation is a real gift. And when we recognize it, it's going to change our life. So my husband and I, we were just talking about this in the car the other day. I said, I think I told him that I felt like he delivered information very abruptly. And I was like, you could put a little bit of salt on it, And he's like, it's funny you're saying that because I learned this from you. He's like, he said, I learned this from you and your family because you guys actually communicate very boldly and openly. And I went my whole life not knowing that was an option. And then you taught it to me and you imparted that to me. And I was giggling because I was like, well, I can't slight him for that because it's something I imparted to him. But it got me thinking, what did he impart to me? And it's like, now not so much these days as much. I live a pretty full on life, but I definitely am really good at relaxing too. I think anybody that knows me knows that. They're like, so you do a vacation every month? I'm like, kinda, because I also go at 1,000 miles an hour when I'm not on vacation. So, but something he imparted to me was that gift of relaxation. My husband is never in a rush. For better or worse, he's never in a rush. He's like, it'll get done. We'll do it. Don't worry. Everything is just so relaxed. And it's something I got to see him do and learn from him. And he imparted that gift to me, that gift that said, you get to rest. You can rest, actually. It's all going to be okay. You can rest. You don't have to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. And he imparted that to me. So we both imparted to each other what we both had. We didn't try to give things we didn't have. And I think this is really relevant because something that people do often is accept impartation. I'm air quoting it right now for those of you that are not watching the visual version of this, but they accept impartation from people that don't even have it to give it. And so, you'll see people accepting advice in certain areas because, or not imparting it, but trying to give opinions, I should say. And something that I've experienced is, and that I live by pretty much, and it offends people. So just get ready for that. But something I live by is accepting advice in certain areas because of the person's specific giftings and their way of living. So let me be clear. When I travel, we've done a lot of global travel over the last 10 years or more than that, 15 years. And when I go to travel, I do not call my friends that have never left Anderson or Redding, California. Like, I don't do that. I call my friends that have been all over the world and I say, what you got? Where do you think I should stay? What's up with this? What do you think? That's who I call. I call the people that can impart something that they have, right? When I go, me and my husband are going at it and he's annoying me and I'm annoying him. Do you think I call my single friends? No, God, no, no. I call my friends that have been married and have a healthy marriage that I look up to and admire. And that's who I call. Or I call my mentor, which I have a mentor now, and that'll be another podcast episode. But I call people who are living out what I'm asking them. When I think of children, I'm child rearing. We got a 3-year-old, we have a 21-year-old, and we have a 3-year-old. And when I'm banging my head against the wall about the 3-year-old running amok, I'm like, I'm not going to call someone that's never had kids. I'm just not. And I'm not going to call someone whose kids are bad. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm going to call somebody who's has raised incredibly well-adjusted, not perfect because nobody's perfect, but incredibly well-adjusted children that have turned into potential adults or, teenagers or, young adults. And I'm going to go, what did you do? Because you did something right and you did it many times. And I would love to know how you did it. So again, we cannot impart what we don't have. And furthermore, we cannot receive impartation from people that have never had anything to give. They can't give you advice that they don't even live by. So I think of money, and this was something that kind of came up in quite a few environments, familial as well as some friends like years ago. But they would try to give me advice, like money advice. And I'd be like, thank you, but no thank you. Remember for episode 1, no thank you. And people would get offended. Like, I am trying to help you. I'm telling you, I know that my situation looks like this, but I'm trying to tell you what to do. I know that I went through X, Y, and Z, but I'm trying to tell you how to do this. No, thank you. If you've not ran a business, don't give me business advice. If you have not stewarded your finances well, don't give me financial advice. That's just how it goes. So we have to start using discernment on this, because you see far too many times, and it doesn't really matter the setting. It doesn't have to be a, secular setting or specifically, Christian setting or anything that this happens in. But if we're under any covering of people where we're taking their advice, irregardless of their circumstances, we're in a dangerous space. So you want to always be sure to recognize that you can be friends with people. You can be in relationship with people. You can be in all sorts of, and you can be colleagues with people. You can be in all sorts of different situations and dynamics with people. But that doesn't mean that those people are called to speak into every area of your life. They're not. Like, unless they have it going on in every single area, they shouldn't be imparting wisdom in every area of your life. They shouldn't be giving you direction in every area of your life. It's just not how it works. So what we want to do is, when you're seeking out help or you're trying to give help, not just seeking out, when we're trying to give help, we need to stay in our lane. We need to know what have we done? This is not shade. This is like, let's be real with ourselves. I don't talk to people and tell people. I have friends that are running multi-million dollar companies. I do not tell them how to run their company and give them advice on what to do, because I'm running a beauty bar that does very well, but I'm not running a multi-million dollar company yet. So why on earth would I feel that I need to impart any wisdom into how they should be doing their job? I've not been in that stage. Now, what I could do though is receive information from them. What did you do? You did something right. What did you do in this area to grow? What did you do, right? But that goes back to humility. We have to have humility to be able to receive. I've been around people that I've tried to help that will not accept my help. Why? Pride. I don't want your help. I don't want you to be the person that helps me. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want you to impart your wisdom on me. I don't want you to give me any good advice, because I want it to be X, Y, or Z, even though they're never going to do it. But I don't want you to do it. Why? Pride. So we got to get the spirit of pride out. When we get rid of pride, it allows us to be closer to God and allows us to really actually lean into his wisdom, because he will send the right people to you. It's up to you whether or not you choose to receive the help. God has sent people in my life so many times that I'm like, did it have to be them? Did it? Lord. And then when I can humble myself and say, yeah, it did have to be them, because they're actually the person that was going to teach me this. They were actually the person that was going to refine me in that. They're actually the person that's actually willing and has the grace to deal with my certain personality type, right? So when we humble ourselves, we're going to see, acceleration and growth. But when we try to carry pride and say, no, I would prefer to not have that impartation from you, even though you have it, then we're usually going to be held up for many, many years on end, because we're searching for the impartation in all the wrong places. So I wrote a book called From the Beginning, Unveiling the Ordered Principles to Craft Your Dream Life. And in this book, I wrote, when we honor, respect, or truly value ourselves, then and only then can we pass that on to others. And I really believe that to be true. We have to honor ourselves first. We have to be able to show grace to ourselves first. We have to show up for ourselves first before we can impart it to anyone. So if we don't have self-esteem, which nobody ever wants to admit that they don't have self-esteem, right? Like issues like low self-esteem. I'll do it for the class. I did. I had a bout with it for like a little less than a year, but it was good for me because it gave me perspective, because I had never really struggled with that in my life. My mother was so awesome in that she really carried herself very much with confidence, and I never heard her nitpicking herself in the mirror. I never heard her talking bad about herself. I didn't even know what self-deprecation looked like until I became an adult. And I was like, I didn't know people were supposed to hate themselves this much. Okay. So I never really struggled with that, but I ended up in a situation a couple years back. And anyway, that situation led me to really start second guessing myself, really start affecting my self-esteem, really start making me I was like, whoa, am I this? Because everybody's thinking I'm that, and I was really not myself. In that season, let me tell you, I couldn't impart anything to anybody. I was trying to impart confidence on people and do my normal thing where I'm just like, you can do it. Everybody, everybody can do it. Go, let's run this race. I couldn't do any of that because the impartation I received was actually that of low self-esteem. I actually received this, the low self-esteem was put on me. And then I walked around and carried that to the masses, to everyone else. So anytime I tried to do anything to, empower other people, it was almost like it was like a boomerang. It would just bounce off and then come back, and it never landed. And the reason was I hadn't dealt with the fact that I had low self-esteem in that season, and it didn't matter what I tried to do. It could not be imparted. I could not impart confidence and high self-esteem onto other people. So, I think the biggest thing for all of us these days is no time. We're busy. We got more gadgets to do more things, but we got less time than ever. And if you don't have capacity, you cannot give people anything. You can't give people time. You can't show up for them. You can't, right? So if we don't take care of that and steward our time well, if we don't actually say, I'm going to sit down and make sure that I spend the time that I need with these certain people. If I don't say, I need to ensure that I spend time with my child, that I need to ensure that I'm spending one-on-one time to cultivate these friendships. I need to make sure that I'm spending this time with my whatever staff or my colleagues, to build rapport. If we don't make sure we do it, then, and we just keep operating out of no capacity, it'll never get done. Well, what stems from that? Bitterness, resentment. I don't have time to have sex with my husband. I don't have time to, nurture my high schooler. They're too old for this. I don't have time. Okay, well then it's going to catch up with you. We can't operate out of no capacity and then expect to be able to give time. We have to first honor ourselves. We have to first make it a priority. It has to be made a priority. I think knowing what you cannot give, that'll change your life. We often want to be everything to everybody. We want to be the cheerleader to this person. We want to be able to be the confidant to that person. We want to be the one that imparts wisdom to this one. And oftentimes we want to be able to do every single thing that one person was never intended to do. So in family dynamics, friendships, you're going to see this a lot. People holding on tight because they want to be everything to everybody or to a certain person or whatever. It was never intended to be that way. You ask anybody that knows me, I got about 75,000 best friends. We looked like a fool up there on my wedding day. Literally looked like a circus. It was a clown show. I was like, this is ridiculous. I got to get rid of some people. I think I fired 2 bridesmaids because I was like, they were still my friends. I'm like, this is just getting ridiculous. We can't have this many people up here. So I think we had 23 of us in total. My husband's like, I don't even talk to people. Why are you doing this to me? I have to like add all these people. And I think of how it was a testament to the fact that I just love people and I love friendship and I love women. Specifically, I really love to befriend women and encourage women and empower women. But I learned that generally the only type that stick around me are pretty strong ones. And generally the only type that fool with me are ones that like truth. Because if they don't, they usually bounce in about a year. But I think there's something to that, to recognizing like when you have a bunch of women or men, if you're watching this, you have a bunch of people in your life to be able to pull from. I don't pull from every one of my friends for the same things. I have my girlfriends that I know if I want to laugh, if I need to laugh, I'm calling Stacy. Okay? If I'm going to laugh, I'm calling Stacy. If I want to be tended to and nurtured, I'm calling Katie. If I got like 7,000 of them. So like, I'm not going to sit here and list everybody, but I think that's the biggest thing is knowing who can you go to for certain things. And you were never intended. I am not going to be everything to every one of those friends. I don't care that they don't call me up for this certain thing. Why? Because I may not have been the person that was intended to be that for them. I might be their strength. So maybe they don't call me when they cry. I don't know. Like there's different things. So we have to just honor ourselves by knowing that we can't be everything to everybody. And we have to honor ourselves by knowing that everyone's not going to be everything to us. I think just knowing yourself is so important in honoring yourself. You're not going to be able to honor yourself through this season if you don't know you. If you don't know what your preferences are, if you don't know what your convictions are, if you don't know where your boundaries are, you're not going to be able to honor yourself. So those are the key things. You need to find out, what are my boundaries? What are my absolute no's? What are my convictions? What do I stand on? All of these things are going to be very imperative to being able to honor yourself well. And there is a difference between knowing yourself and knowing how to behave. I don't know if anybody knew that, but when you know how to behave, you essentially are saying, I know how to perform in certain settings. I'm really good at playing roles for people. People are wonderful actors. They're wonderful actors. I'm really good at being this thing to this person. I'm really good at being this thing in this organization. I'm really good at being this thing in this environment. That is not the same thing as knowing yourself. That is called acting. That is called role playing. So to honor yourself, you have to be able to know yourself. So let's spend some time getting to know ourselves so that in this next season, as we come into a season where everyone's going to be asking you to do this for them, help them with that. Can you show up to this event? Can you show up to that? Just a simple no, thank you. No, thank you. I'll tell you a quick story before I end this one, but I did Pilates years ago when I used to work out. I don't anymore. I walk. I think you should take care of your body. And one day I'm going to have a 6-pack and do a podcast on how we should all be like me. But until then, I'm just going to keep it real. So I used to do Pilates and I thought that was going to be my thing to like make me decompress. It was not. It's awesome. Awesome sport though. And I was doing it and the woman who owned the facility that I was doing it in, she said, hey everybody, we're having a toy drive. And this toy drive, we would like you guys to all adopt a family. And I was like, cool. And she's like, okay, well, which family did you want to adopt? And I said, oh no, I said, cool. I think that's so cool that you're doing that, but I'm not going to be able to do that. And she kind of, it was so interesting because she looked at me and you could tell that she was like shocked, but then it like took probably about a minute. It probably was 15 seconds, but it felt like a minute. And then she goes, wow, I just really want to say that was really beautiful. And I said, what was? She said, you said no. And I said, well, yeah, I didn't say no because I don't care about kids. I said no because I'm hosting one in my business already, and I've chosen to adopt a family there. I also committed to doing one through another nonprofit organization, and I have a very large family, and that would be past my capacity and my budget to be able to be adopting a whole nother family. And she was like, I just don't even understand. Like, I've never seen anybody do that. Everybody usually just says yes out of obligation. And I was like, I don't do that. So I'm so glad that blessed you. But I was able to impart that on her because she goes, I'm going to start doing that. I want to do that. I've never even conceived of that, of just saying no if you can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, because at the end of the day, God's judging my heart. He knows what I'm doing. I don't have to advertise it to everybody else. I didn't even have to tell her. She had to ask me why I said no, basically. I didn't need to tell her. I just said, no, thank you. But I think we get so much in the spirit of striving and trying to be perfect. And we start to just really not honor ourselves when we do that. And it's just so important that we do. So I'm going to leave you with this challenge for the week. I want you to stop yourself whenever you're trying to give something that you don't have. You need to stop yourself. So if you're about to give advice to somebody and you know that you should not be talking to this person about this thing because you ain't never done it. You ain't never been married. You ain't never ran a business. You ain't never have 50,000 kids. You ain't never, whatever it is. Stop yourself. Go, you know what? I might not be the right person to ask about this. It doesn't matter what your relation is to that person. I don't care if it's your mama, your best friend, your cousin. It doesn't matter. If you are not in a position to actually impart that to someone, stop it yourself and don't do it. Likewise, this week, pay attention. When other people are trying to impart things, stop them before they do. Thank you so much, but I'm gonna reach out to somebody else about this. I don't feel like this is a discussion for us. So I want you to challenge yourself with that for the week. And I want to thank you guys for listening again. And I will see you soon or talk to you soon.